Good morning, class. This video is on how to make pancakes. So let's get started. So the first thing we need to do is we need to find our ingredients. So I have our dry ingredients. This is salt, baking powder, cane sugar or regular sugar, and flour. Second step is I need to find our wet ingredients. So I have milk, an egg, vanilla extract, and vegetable oil. Any kind of vegetable oil will work. I prefer a lighter oil. This one's peanut oil just because I had it in the cabinet. Once I find my ingredients, then I need to measure them. So I'm going to start with the milk because I don't want to leave the carton of milk on the counter. So I just want to leave out the milk that I'm measuring for the pancakes. So we need to measure 1 cup of milk. To measure our milk, I've selected a wet ingredient cup, and I'm going to measure it to the 1 cup line. So what I need to do is I need to set it down on a solid surface so the milk doesn't move around when I pour it. And then I'm going to slowly pour it till I get close to the 1 cup line. And then I'm going to bend down and look at eye level to get my 1 cup milk measurement. So we are going to work with our wet ingredients first. I have a metal bowl, and I'm going to pour the milk into the bowl. So milk is in the bowl. I'm going to set it down. I'm going to crack my egg into the small bowl. I crack it into a small bowl first, so it's easier to get out a shell if I get a piece of shell in the small bowl than it is in the larger bowl with the milk. So now we're going to measure out our vanilla. So I have my milk mixture here, and I'm going to take 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. So then we're going to add it to the milk mixture. So I can use the same set that I used for the vanilla of the measurements, and I'm going to find the largest spoon, which is the tablespoon. So I'm going to measure 2 tablespoons of oil. One. So again, I pour slowly. I want to get exact. I don't want to put too much oil in. And then I pour that in. So I have 2 tablespoons of oil. So to stir them, I have a tool called a whisk. If you do not have a whisk, you can also use a fork. So I'm just kind of blending in the egg with the milk. So in here, again, we have our milk, our egg, vanilla, and oil. So this is our wet ingredients. We are going to set them aside, which means I'm going to put them on the counter, forget about them for a little while, and we are going to move on to the next step. So with a spoon, I'm going to fluff up my flour. And then I'm going to spoon the flour into the cup. When I measure the flour, I'm going to end up leveling it off. So I need a little bit more than what is needed to fill the cup because of the leveling off. So then I'm going to tap it a little bit just to make sure there's no air pockets in the flour. And then I'm going to level it off. You can use the back of your knife to level it off this way. This one is a little bit rounded, so I don't really have a flat side, so I'm just going to turn it this way. So I'm going to level it off. And then I'm going to take my flour, put it into the bowl. This is my dry ingredients mixture bowl. Then I need to measure out my salt. When measuring out salt, I do not like to measure it over the bowl in case I spill. So I have my half teaspoon of salt. The half teaspoon of salt is half the size of the 1 teaspoon of measuring spoon. And I'm going to tap some in here. Tap it down a little bit to measure it. And there's my half a teaspoon of salt. And then I'm going to add this to the bowl with the flour. So the next step is I need to add my sugar. I need 2 tablespoons of sugar. Remember, the tablespoon is the largest spoon in your spoon set, measuring set. 1. And 2. So the last dry ingredient I need to add is baking powder. So this has a little lip on here, which I can scrape the spoon against to level it off. 1 and 2 teaspoons. So now I have to mix in the dry ingredients. So I'm going to take my whisk and give them a stir. And make sure they're well mixed. So now I need to take my wet ingredients that I set on the counter, and I am going to add them to the dry ingredients. So I just have to pour this in. So once my surface is warm, I'm going to add a little bit of cooking spray. Just a light coat. Then I'm going to set my pancakes down on the surface to cook. So before I cook my pancakes, I'm going to take out my butter and my syrup. I don't want them overly chilled. Butter and syrup are traditional toppings for pancakes that people like, but you can use whatever toppings you want. So to form my pancakes, I want them all the same size, so I'm using the same scoop for each one. If I make them all the same size, they will cook the same. So I am just dropping, leaving a little space in between because they will spread out a bit. So I have a little bit of pancake batter, so I will need to make a second batch to use it up. So I'm gonna let these cook and they will start to bubble. Part of the reason they bubble up is because we put that baking powder in the pancakes. So I'm gonna wait for them to bubble up. So in case you wanna make blueberry pancakes, I'm just gonna show you what I do. is I just drop a few blueberries into the pancake and I just give them a little push with my finger. So I'm doing 2 that are blueberry and the rest plain. So I have a turner or spatula that I use. I'm going to need that to flip the pancakes. So I can see that they're getting soft and they're starting to bubble. Okay, so I have some bubbling. They're dry on the sides. So I'm going to go ahead and flip one. Looks good. The other one. So when you flip the pancakes, you get it this way. If you go slow, the pancake's going to slide all over. So what I do is I just give it a quick shove to get it underneath and then flip it over. So I don't know. So then I need to let them cook on the other side. And then after I cook them on the other side, I can check when they're brown on the other side, they should be done. So once they're brown on the other side, your pancakes are done. So when you cut your butter for the pancakes, it's good to make like thin little slices of butter so they kind of melt on the pancakes. And if you don't get them too thin, you could also chop them up a little bit. There we go. Pour some syrup on top. And there you have it. Homemade pancakes.